Hey everyone, I'm finally back with another video. In this episode, we are working on this old nightstand. It was full of blue paint and white primer underneath. There was a veneer damage here on the side that was pretty rough, and the paint was just barely holding on. My goal is to remove this paint and to see what we are dealing with underneath. This video is sponsored by the Creality Falcon2 Pro, which is an enclosed laser engraver and cutter. I'm super excited to show you how I will be incorporating this machine into today's furniture project, so stay tuned. To get started, I'm going to remove the door and all the hardware. That was pretty satisfying. Before anything else, a lead test is a good idea here. No signs of lead, so that's good. This one didn't want to come off as easy. There we go. So we're gonna get started scraping. I think it's gonna come off easy, but I guess we're about to find out. Let's get to work. Baco carbide scraper. Let's do it. So flaky. It's so nice when the paint comes off like this. It's just some projects I've worked on, the paint can be a nightmare, so this is pretty good. Just put a full piece of veneer here. Taking a closer look here, there's 3 coats of paint, so I think the blue is a latex paint. The white, I'm not sure. The bottom primer, I'm gonna say is an oil-based primer. What do you guys think? For the detailed areas, I'm using this hide scraper with changeable blades, and I'm using this round tip one. I also scraped and sanded the sides of the drawers as best as I could. I originally was going to strip these detailed areas, but the paint was coming off nicely and the store was closed that was nearby, so I just started with the scraper and started working hard. And to prevent this piece from moving when scraping, I just put a really heavy paint container on top of the piece. Before heading home for the day, I'm going to test 2 of these paint strippers with what little amount I have left. This is circa 1850, and I barely had any of this easy stripper left, so it was a bit watery, and not a fair comparison, but the 1850 worked quick and a lot better, so I'm just going to pick that up on the way to the garage tomorrow. Before leaving, I also decided to take these dirty things off. And while doing so, I noticed some veneer chipped on the inside that you can't even see, but for some reason I decided, yeah, let's just fill these in with a veneer patch. Doesn't hurt to practice your skills, right? I also noticed this was loose, so we'll fill that in with the glue as well. This one had 2 layers missing, so I needed to add this little piece on bottom as well. And I filled in this little baby chip. And finally, I came back the next day, took off the clamps, and I cut away the extra veneer pieces. Okay, now there's paint still stuck in the dings and dents and some of the grains, so I picked up some more paint stripper. We're going to use circa 1850 gel stripper, then we'll clean it up with the liquid stripper, so let's get started. I let the stripper sit for 10 to 15 minutes, then I choose my wire brush. I use the brass one first, that's less damaging and hopefully it removes as much paint as possible, but sometimes the paint is so stuck that you need to use the steel wire brush to actually get it out. After both paint strippers, I use mineral spirits and a clean rag to wipe all the residue up. As you can tell, I did lots of scrubbing. Some areas the paint just wouldn't come out, so I did my best to go around with a picking tool and scrape it all out. But here was the most difficult paint to remove on this piece. It was just stuck in this weird crack in the veneer in the middle of the door. So here it looks like the paint seeped into the veneer crack, and off camera I just kept applying more stripper and scrubbed it until it eventually came out. Throw on some 150. Here I'm just throwing some mineral spirits on a rag and applying it to the piece, the project veneer, and then 3 other pieces of veneer. And I just want to see what looks the most similar and what I can probably blend the best. And although it's dark, I think this one would be the easiest to blend. So I'm going to use that for this repair. Also, if you haven't joined the Furniture Squad community yet, we have about 90 members and we are growing, so make sure to stop by and check out other people's projects, help each other out, and share our knowledge. So make sure to join. It's still free for life, so hope to see you in there soon. As you can see, there's lifting here and a piece of wood missing, so I'm throwing this little piece in and I will be gluing underneath as well, but that's just to make sure the veneer on top is level. Now let's do this little patch in the corner. So this area I was just gonna blend in and make it look like it was continuing on from the veneer, but when I peeled off a little piece of tape, I peeled up this piece of veneer. So now I'm gonna try to add a new piece of veneer just in a straight line across here. So I don't know if this was the best plan, but we'll see how it turns out. Didn't look too bad, but I'm going to come back to this. Now let's get started with the Creality Falcon2 Pro. This laser is pretty cool. I assembled it at home and now I'm just hooking it up to my laptop and we're going to get things going. I hooked the hose onto the fan so the smoke blows outdoors. This is the laser. I have the 40 watt laser and you can also get a 22 watt enclosed version or a 60 watt version. This is the air assist that connects to the left side here. On the right side you have your power button, your power cable, micro SD card slot, and you also have your emergency stop button and a few controls here for offline use and your key to turn it on and off as well. There's a camera built in for accurate alignment, and what you want to do is first calibrate the camera lens and then calibrate the camera alignment. When that was completed, I started doing some practice cuts. You're probably wondering what I'm doing with this engraver in this project, and I'm going to be doing some unique cuts to install on the top of this piece, and I started everything off in Canva, and let me explain. So if you are wondering what I did here, I created this on Canva. I went to Elements, I found just a bunch of different blob shapes, put them all together in just an image here, and then made the image, downloaded the image, and then basically used the AI grab tool and just grabbed every single shape here, and then I put the shapes in different images themselves, downloaded them, and then brought it over to Lightburn to cut out. So it's basically just one big puzzle. Kind of confusing, but you'll see what I'm doing. So now I'm starting with my first batch of 4, so let's get this started. Countdown right here, so 35 seconds left in the engraving process, and that's our sheet. Cutting produces a nice amount of smoke, so make sure your hose is outdoors. And our first batch of cuts went really well. Grab another piece. Now let's keep it going. After each cut, I do open this little drawer just to make sure no wood or anything is down there, and I just do a quick cleanup. And finally, we're done all our cuts. It's pretty cool because it does all the work for you. Now I'm going to use this photo for reference to piece this puzzle together on top. Whoops, messed up the top. Cut it again, exact same size. You might be wondering where the heck I got this idea, but there's this mid-century American of Martinsville patchwork designed furniture. It looked really similar to what I'm doing, and I really thought it was a cool design, so I thought I'd try something out with this laser engraver. So let's see what it looks like when it's all finished. So I taped all the pieces together, and then I applied some Titebond 2 on the bottom everywhere, and then I also applied the Titebond 2 to the top of the nightstand. And yes, I have a random assortment of wood here that I'm going to use to help clamp it down. It looks weird, but it works. Could I make it look any uglier right now? But I must say it worked nicely. I just have to clean up some of the glue that spilled out. Oh yeah, and remove this wood that I used so the clamps had something to hold on to. Now we can do some final sanding on the edges here and 220 throughout the entire piece and any final paint picking, and we will be ready to apply our finish. I decided to use Odie's dark oil for this project instead of stain, so I'm just going to keep the wood natural and a little bit darker, and this will darken with age as well. So I just take one of these Scotch-Brite pads and add the oil, and you're good to start rubbing it into the wood. Here's just a quick look at the Odie's oil applied versus the raw sanded veneer. Odie's oil is natural and won't harm your skin, so you are good to apply it without gloves, and you don't have to wear a respirator, which is what I like about it. Now I'll allow the Odie's oil to penetrate into the wood for an hour or so, but now I'm mixing stains just to see what colors I can come up with to stain this unique top. As you can tell, this is a bit of a time-consuming process, but it's pretty relaxing. Eventually I finished that up with a few aches and pains throughout my body, but now it's time to get started buffing this Odie's oil off. Oh yeah, we can't forget about the poles. Let me just get the remaining paint off and then we can sand and stain them to match. I'm using American Oak gel stain on these and it matches the piece nicely. The reason I'm staining these and spraying them with lacquer is because I kind of like the feel of the lacquer for the poles. I'm also spraying the top pattern part with lacquer to give it a nice durable top finish. Then I refresh the drawer by sanding it and adding some Howard's Feed and Wax. Then I clean the brass hinges with Barkeeper's Friend and water. And after all that hard work, we can finally piece this thing back together. Oh, I forgot to mention I did burn through this sanding, so that was fun, but let me just do a quick touch up with some lacquer and some Mohawk Blendle powder stains, and I think it looks a lot cleaner now. But finally, let's take a look at this piece one more time before we even started working on it. And here is what it looks like after. Let me know what you guys think of this project. I wasn't sure about the two-tone look at the beginning, but I think it turned out pretty cool. The top also looks pretty sweet. It's really unique. I think the next time I would do this, I'd use a high quality veneer so it would look a little bit more upscale. But this piece was free and I was just testing out the laser engraver, and it's a pretty cool machine. If you guys enjoyed this video, just let me know in the comments, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on my future videos. See you guys in the next one.